up, enjoy the ride with Crystal Petry. Consulted, so inspiring.
Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of 60 Minutes With. I'm your host, Crystal Petry. Today we are going to learn about cancer awareness for the month of October that we're currently in, but we're also going to learn exactly what does a constable do. And to help educate myself and to educate you on that, we have Constable Christopher Bates. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So as I stated, we are in the month of October, cancer awareness. We are really celebrating here in Southeast Texas. I know it's a nationwide initiative as well. You are the ambassador for the American Cancer Society. Tell me, why is that so important to you that you be a part of that?
So, as we know, so many people suffer from cancer, breast cancer, and other forms of cancer as well. Mm-hmm. And so, for me, it's important to try to give back and help bring awareness, educating, and also financial assistance to individuals that are dealing with cancer and the effects thereof. And so, this is actually my second stint at being what we call a Real Men Wear Pink ambassador. Mm-hmm. And we do throughout the month of October, we do different fundraisers, and we compete with other gentlemen that are in this coalition of ambassadors to see who can raise the most money. But it's all fun and games, and but it's for a great cause. And so at any given moment, it's not pink now, but you may see my beard be pink at a few other events here and there, but we're definitely looking to raise a lot of money to support these efforts.
And what does, as an ambassador, what is your responsibility? What comes along with that title?
So mainly, one thing is just making sure that where I'm at, I'm educating individuals on how people deal with cancer, how the American Cancer Society helps individuals that are diagnosed with cancer, and then just again being able to raise the financial means. We have a goal of $2,500 that each one of us, our minimum goal. And so again, this is my second time. My first time that I did it in 2021, I was able to raise over $6,000. And so this year I'm looking to raise more.
Absolutely.
And so I'm definitely going to need a little help and assistance.
Yes.
And but those are some of the main duties of just being an ambassador for this campaign.
So if people want to donate to the American Cancer Society in your name, how does that work?
So they can easily go to my Facebook page where I have it pinned to the top of my page.
And what is your page?
And if you just go type in Christopher L. Bates, my name will pop up. You'll see a bearded guy in uniform with a shiny bald head. And so that's me. And my information on there's a link that you can click and make donations directly to there. Or if you go to Google Real Men Wear Pink, and then there's a page actually dedicated to it, and you can actually just put my name in the search, and my actual page will pop up in profile where individuals can make donations there as well. So it's real easy.
And I'll make sure and have all of that information in the description box. You can just click the link and support cancer as well as support Constable Bates as well. For something like this, normally people have like an intimate, personal, maybe relationship, if you will, with cancer or someone in their family. Was that the reason you decided to help, or was it you just saw a need and wanted to help fulfill it?
So I've had family members that are survivors of breast cancer and different forms of cancer. I've had family members that have passed away from dealing with cancer. So again, it is a personal touch. I think all the ambassadors that are working in this campaign have some type of family tied to it, and so, but also, for me, it's just the right thing to do, supporting these initiatives, and so that's another reason why I'm doing it as well.
Okay. Well, not only are you a Real Men Wear Pink ambassador, you are also a Jefferson County, Texas constable, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
My question, what is a constable? What do you do?
So that is the number one asked question that I've been getting since I took office in 2013. What does a constable do? And a lot of times people have an idea, but they don't want to say the wrong thing. And so first thing they say, well, you're a police officer, you're a peace officer.
Right.
So of course, yes, the Texas Constable is a constitutionally created position in our Texas Constitution, and we all have to be peace officers first. We take our state test through our local police academy and take our state test through T-Code, and then from there, the elected constable, which I am a precinct 2, we're elected every 4 years, and the Constitution states that we shall serve the civil process of the courts in the area, and then also bailiff the justice of the peace court. And so, in addition to the performance of peace officer duties. And so, when I say civil process, it basically is if someone is being sued, a small claims court. If anybody's watched Judge Judy and all this stuff, kind of, sort of, maybe not so, but if someone is being sued, we have to go and locate these individuals and let them know that a lawsuit has been filed against them. And so we receive papers from the different courts in the county and sometimes out of county and out of state. We locate individuals and say, hey, you have a lawsuit that's against you. This is the time that you have to go to court. And so we get those papers. We have to also deal with evictions. We know during COVID-19, evictions and different things were very, very much in the news.
Yes.
For people just being able to afford to stay where they had been staying because of COVID and things of dealing with work and employment. And so we get, when landlords come in, they can file for people for non-payment of rent or lease violations, and we have to serve these evictions to individuals, let them know that accordingly the judge makes a ruling on that case. And so we do the evictions, small claims. We also serve a lot of papers from the Attorney General's office that deals with child support issues and different things of that nature. So we get all those civil papers in from the AG's office, and then sometimes we have to work with CPS. It's very delicate situations where sometimes we have to assist them in removing a child from one household to another, depending on the situation and what investigation that may be going on. And then also auctions. And so a lot of times when people think about an auction, they think about the guy up there speaking real fast.
Right, with the gavel.
And so it's not like that, but when people get sued and they don't have the money to satisfy or pay what they've been sued for, the plaintiff can go back and file what we call a writ of execution. And that writ allows the plaintiff to levy or seize property from that individual to be sold in an auction to help pay for whatever's owed to the plaintiff. And so we facilitate that auction in the county's courthouse steps, and those are basically the main aspects of what we do, in addition to being able to make arrests, traffic stops, where people ask all the time, can the constable?
That's one of my questions.
That's it. We definitely can pull people over, make traffic stops, and criminal investigations. And so I always call it the best of both worlds, so to speak, because we do criminal and we do civil process as well.
Do you have to be called to do criminal? Like, does someone call you and say, hey, we need help here?
So good question. So we normally, what we go base our service off of is the papers that come in, the legal documents that come in, and so that's what our call for service is as far as the papers. We're not attached to a radio that necessarily like police dispatch that will send us out to different calls if a criminal aspect is happening or someone's calling for help. But I say 100 times out of 100 times we'll always have our radio on. I know we assist other agencies if they call out for service or we're nearby situations, we can help and assist as well. And so, but our main duty is making sure that we are serving the process that comes into our office.
So you can pull people over for speeding?
I can, very much so.
Do you pull people over for speeding?
Every now and again I get out there. My deputies do more. I'm more of an administrative role as the constable, and so I'm handling more of the operations and the admin of the office. But I have two deputies, and so they see it fit to someone that's speeding or someone that's running a red light or illegal lane change, whatever. They will pull you over and see what's going on.
Now, I know you said earlier that you have to take do you take the same test as the police officers?
Correct. You're right.
Okay, so you guys take the same test. Why did you decide to become a constable? Because I'm assuming once you've taken that test and you've passed and you've done everything that you need to do, then you choose like which lane you want to go to. Do I want to become a police officer? Do I want to become a constable?
Exactly.
So obviously you chose to become a constable. My question is, why did you choose that path?
So actually, after I got out the police academy, so I was sponsored, and that means that an agency paid for me to go to the academy, and that was actually my full-time job. And so actually my first police agency that I worked for was Port Arthur Police Department.
Okay.
I worked there for about a year and a half before I left, and I started working for a constable agency doing truancy precinct 8 in the Port Arthur schools. And so again, I was going to be a peace officer. Then because I was sponsored, then I already had a job, and so I have worked in the municipalities, and so that was my first job. I worked for the Port Arthur Police Department, and again moved on to Constable Precinct 8, doing truancy in the schools and security, and then from there were some budget cuts made by the county, the commissioner's court at that time, on the constable deputies, and so I was actually one that was the last one in, and so my position was actually cut, and so I had to make a move at that point. And Port Arthur ISD decided at that time to start their own police department for the school district, and so I went and worked for the school district for about 2 years, and then there were some changes at the school level as far as if they wanted a police department or not. And so seeing those changes coming about, and knowing that the precinct 2 constable was retiring, I made a decision to run for office at that time in 2011. And so that's kind of my plan of my work from start to finish. And so I've been here now since 2013, and it's just been a joy to serve as a constable.
So my next question, which one did you prefer? I mean, which one did you like more, being a police officer or a constable?
So, it's all rewarding for me, because if you get into this job, you really have to have a heart for people, I found out. And so I've always been a person that just wanted to give and help out individuals. And so even though I was doing the law of the land and having to make arrests and things of that nature, at the police department, I also enjoy being the constable. It gives me more time to do more community things, and work with young people, work with our older community. And so for me, it's rewarding in both aspects of it. And being able to protect and serve and making sure that people are safe, people's properties are safe. But also, I really enjoy being a constable. People ask me all the time, "Do you like your job?" I say, "No, I don't like it. I love it."
All right.
I love it. Just because you have, everything is different every day, but also, again, just those aspects of being embedded in the community and helping where you can.
As a Jefferson County constable, what is your service like? What area do you cover?
Okay.
What cities?
So in Jefferson County, there's 6 elected constables, and they're all kind of divided up to cover the entire county.
And you're a constable.
Precinct 2.
Precinct 2.
And so my precinct basically covers Port Arthur, everything basically to the east of Highway 69, and in the north side of Port Arthur, on the borders of Port Arthur. There's a couple of areas that kind of go on the other side of Highway 69, but for the most part, east and north Port Arthur is the primary precinct that I cover.
How did you find out about being a constable? Did you see someone growing up? Did someone come and say, "Hey, what about this? You would be great at this"? How did you find out about it?
So, I honestly, as the constable work of it, I really didn't have a lot of information on it. I had heard of the position. I knew a constable. I used to work for Eddie Collins, and I knew the things that he was doing in the community and working in the schools. But even before that, as just an officer, I was actually going to school at Lamar University, pursuing a bachelor's degree. And but I was at a football game, and me and 2 other friends saw a friend that we knew that had just passed the test and became an officer for Port Arthur. And he was letting us know that, man, it's a good job, you get benefits, you make good money.
Yeah.
And there's a test coming up, and maybe y'all should take it. And so we just on a whim. They said they were really going to take it, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to go take it with y'all, just because. And I always tell this story, and my friends, they may be watching, but I passed the test, and my other 2 friends did not. And
are we gonna say names?
I'm not gonna say no
We're
names,
not saying names.
but they, to this day, they're like, man, that was probably the best decision ever, man. That we probably wouldn't, they're good guys, but they ain't gonna say, man, it's not for us, because it's not for everybody. It's really not.
Mm-hmm.
But I passed everything and passed the back. It's an extensive background check, and to report off the police department and all the obstacle course that we had to take. And I got a call from the chief of police at that time, Mark Blanton, and he offered me a position. And so in my head, and offered me to go to the police academy. And so in my head, I was like, I don't know what I can do. What am I getting myself into? But I told him, I said, I'm gonna accept the position. I can do the job because, even though I kind of had some doubts, I knew that I could do the job. I had a family, young family at that time that I needed to provide for as well. And so I attended the police academy and also continued pursuing my bachelor's degree at the same time so that I could still graduate from the mark.
What were you pursuing? What was your degree in, number one?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, were you scared to, you just on a whim at a football game, like completely made a life decision. Were you scared or nervous about that?
I think, again, like I said, I just went with them to take the test. It wasn't anything that I thought that I couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm always, confident on even the decisions that are just kind of wacky, so to speak, that, I can still do what I can do. And so I never had any doubts that I couldn't do the job. And so that's why I believe that I've been able to be successful in what I've been doing for the past 15 years now. This is year 15 for me in law enforcement, so time does fly. But originally, again, my original major was actually music education as a vocalist. And so
you're going to be a music teacher?
I'm going to be a music teacher. I always told my mom that I wanted to be a teacher, elementary school teacher. And so because of the talents that my mom and dad had given me, vocal performance and education is what my original major was. And so I was talking to a group of kids the other day, and I was like, sometimes your majors change. So I actually changed my major like 2-3 times before I actually graduated. And I graduated with a general studies degree from Moore University on a Saturday, and then that day before that Friday, I graduated from the police academy. So in the same year. So Friday I graduated from LIT Police Academy. The next day I graduated from Moore University.
That sounds like a lot of studying to me.
I had to take a few online classes while I was in the police academy, so it was a lot of work because the police academy, people ask me, is it hard? And I always say it's not easy because these tests aren't. You have to prepare for this state test, and so it was a lot of work along with the PT, what we call physical training, was there, and I think I was taking 3 classes at Lamar University online, and so. But I was determined. Again, I had been in school longer than I wanted to be. And so I had to finish. If I start something, I'm always going to finish it.
You made a comment that not everyone, this job is not for everyone. And I interviewed Chief Deputy Dante Miller, I don't know if you know him, Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, and he also said something very similar. And he said you can't train a good heart. What are some characteristics you think you need to have, a person needs to have, to be a good peace officer, to be a good constable, to be a good police officer? What characteristics do you need to have? Because like Dante said, you can't train a good heart, so that stuff already needs to be within you.
It has to, and off of that statement, the first thing I always say when people ask that question is you have to love people.
Which is difficult.
It is difficult, especially in situations where people sometimes aren't even loving themselves. And so you have to be able to love them and assist them and help them to do this job, because after a while being in this job, and you can ask other officers, sometimes it can harden you. And so the love is for the people, but the love is also for yourself, because again, you see so many things. You deal with children being in situations of crime, are being abused, and elderly folk, and just it's just so many different things that if you're not a law enforcement, you just won't see on a daily basis. And so you have to lead with love, and then you have to be passionate about truly what you're trying to do, protecting and serving individuals, and just being a good steward of understanding that. And this I always did, because I policed where I grew up, and so, and I was, leery of that in the beginning. I'm like, oh man, people are gonna, I'm gonna run into people that I know, and this, that, and other. But it worked out for me because people knew that I was a good guy. At least try to be a good guy. And most of the time, people know. 9 times out of 10, when people doing something wrong, they know they're doing something wrong. And so, when I had to make an arrest with people that I knew, they were like, "Bates, we know you're just doing your job. We messed up." And so, and that, just being able to respect people. We're human. We all make mistakes. That may have been their mistake, but I made mistakes as well. And so I always keep that in the forefront of my head, is that, man, I'm human just like they are, but this is just something that, this is what my job has me to do. But I'm always be respectful to anybody that I have to deal with.
Your job, and you've talked about it, you see some hard things emotionally,
Yes.
and you're a part of some hard things emotionally. How do you, so to speak, for lack of a better phrase, turn that flip off? When you go home to be with your family, how do you turn that off and leave that here at the job?
Yeah, that's when the training in the police academy, and even doing our FTO training, that's the main thing they really try to emphasize, is being able to turn that switch off. And it's easier said than done.
I would imagine.
Because again, if you're coming and if you're a rookie officer or new to this thing, there's some things that you will be exposed to that you've never seen in your life. And so being able to do that, for me, my faith is so important, my religion, and my relationship with God is so important to help me get to those times where I can, so to speak, turn it off. And so that helps me as well, being able to have time that is outside of work, family, friends, hanging out. All those things help you continue to, in your head, just be a more of a normal person, and be able to, again, leave that at work. And so all those things combined, you have to have those aspects to help you out. If you go to work and you just come home and you're not doing anything, then you're not really setting yourself outside of what just happened at the job place. And so I tell younger officers now all the time, like, man, make sure that you have a hobby. Make sure that you still have social things that you like to do with your friends, with your family, to help you, digress those things that you've seen on a 10-hour or 12-hour shift.
In Texas, we are celebrating the 200th anniversary birthday of the Texas Constable. So tell me, what does that mean, and what has been the impact of the constables here in Texas?
So for me, coming into this, I had very little knowledge of a constable. Mm-hmm. And so once I became a constable and got the necessary training, and surrounded myself with individuals that allowed me to grow, it just helped me understand how important the Texas Constable is. And again, celebrating 200 years, we were recognized during this legislative session on the House floor for the 200-year anniversary, being the oldest law enforcement agency in Texas. And so for me, it just goes back to, we have over 670 constables in the state of Texas, elected constables, and being able to have the professionalism, have the work ethic, have the respect as a constable is so important for me here locally in Jefferson County, and then the rest of our 250 counties across the state. And so that's what it really means, is that we are celebrating professionalism, we are celebrating service, and we're hoping that we're celebrating the next 200 years of the Texas Constable.
Now, doing my research for this interview, I found 2 very important things. Now, again, like I told you and I've said, I didn't know much about being a constable or anything about it. So 2 things that stuck out to me. Cop originally meant constable on patrol.
That's where it came from.
Like, so, of course, now we would use that term for police officers. but initially that's what it was: constable on patrol,
Yes.
cop. The second thing I found out was that the constables was the very first. Let me see, what word did I use here? The very first law enforcement in Texas.
Absolutely.
So how did that come about? Do you know the history? How a constable on patrol, a constable came to be in Texas?
So again, it happened in the early 1800s, and basically came about because of back in the day. If you're watching movies now and you see that the robberies of little settlements of town or whatever, and they needed somebody to make sure that the law of the land, so to speak, was happening and people were protected. It also actually originated in the 1700s overseas, and so actually in England is where it really originated. And so when we came over from the different ships that sailed into the United States, started our colonies or whatever, it just kind of trickled down, and so that's where we actually have the constable origins thereof, and so and it became a part of our Texas Constitution, and making sure that the constable was protecting the towns and the settlements and whatnot. And so over the course of the years, we have expanded, we have grown, and this is where we're at as far as the constable in Texas.
With the anniversary here this year, is there any celebrations that are happening in Jefferson County in Southeast Texas to celebrate such a huge milestone?
So we actually have a deputy constables union here in Jefferson County.
Actually, I did not know that.
Yeah, actually one of the only ones in the state, actually. And so from our last meeting, and I attend. I'm not a deputy constable. I attend because I want to be a member. I want to support our deputy constables because they do great work, and we appreciate our deputy constables. But they're definitely looking to plan something towards before the end of this year to celebrate and invite others to come out to help celebrate as well. 200 years of the constable, and just again educating people, having a family front oriented event, and so those things are in the work, and so we're looking to do some of those things here before 2023 is up.
Which seems like it's going to be tomorrow. This year has flown by.
Weekends come and go real fast.
Yes, very much so. A constable, and you referred to it during this interview, a constable is considered a peace officer. What is a peace officer? What does that mean?
So actually, everyone in Texas has to go through a licensed police academy by our state association, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. And so they set the guidelines that are given to them by the legislator. So they make sure that we do and license everyone and keep up with our continuing education hours and things like that. And so once you graduate and you pass the test from any police academy in Texas, you are given the title of a peace officer. And that's what your license reads, is that you are a Texas peace officer. And then from there, once you apply with an agency and you're hired on, what happens is that agency that agency has been given the powers to employ and commission peace officers. And so what happens is that agency carries or takes a hold of the commission that you were given through your license after you take the test, and they hold your commission as they take your peace officer commission, they hold it, and then whatever agency that you work for, then that gives you a designation of what type of officer that you are. So if someone they pass the academy and they have their peace officer license, they apply with me, then they are a deputy constable. If they go and work for the sheriff's office, and again they go through the academy and they have their peace officer's license, that commission is held and they are deputy sheriffs. They'll work for the police department, their commission is held and they are patrol or police officers. There's other agencies in Texas that can do the same. There's TABC that deals with Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission, and so they have a designation of an agent. There's railroad police officers, there are police officers with the post office, postmaster. There's Texas Rangers. There's the Texas DPS, and so if you work for the DPS state trooper, then you are a trooper. But again, we all have to take the same test to become a peace officer first, and then wherever we go work at, that agency holds our commission, and then that gives us our designation as patrol deputy or things of that nature.
If someone wants to be a constable, someone that's watching, someone that's listening, I want to do what Christopher Bates is doing. What is this is two questions. What is the educational pathway for that? Like graduate high school, what's the next steps? And is there an age requirement? Like you have to be at least 18, but you can't be over 70 to apply.
So for the academy, you have to be, before you take the test, you have to be 21.
Okay.
Everyone has to be 21 before they take the state test. So you can actually go into the academy at 20, but if your birthday comes before you take the test, then you're good. And so from there, the person passes their test, and the academies are pretty much, again, you have to be 21. They have some background information stuff that goes into getting into the academy. Some academies require you to have at least 12 hours of college hours. Some departments, if you're getting sponsored like I did, some of them require you to have some college hours before you can even go to the academy. But once you're in the police academy, it's depending on where you're at here in LIT. There's a regional police academy, and it's mainly just like a semester in college. It's a 5-month process to be in that academy. If you go, there's a part-time academy held by the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, and since it's part-time, it's a little bit longer. It's about 9 to 10 months in that academy, but you're going part-time so that it will allow you to still work and things of that nature. So just kind of depending on where you're, there's academies all across the state, and some of them have, all of them have a minimum standard, but they have to go set by T code. And so once you get through that aspect of it, then some agencies require you to have additional training. So if you want to become a DPS trooper, state trooper, there's an additional academy that you have to go to and stay for I can't remember how long it is, but it's several months that you have to go and train. Even after the police academy, you have to go through the troopers academy. And as the constable, again, you can be the deputy constable to be the elected constable. You do have to actually, again, be able to hold a peace officer's license. But you actually don't, at this current moment, you don't have to be a police officer to actually file to be a constable. If you win the election and you're not a constable, once you're sworn in, you have 270 days to obtain your peace officer license. So go through a full academy and everything in 270 days to be to officially hold the title as constable. If you don't get that on day 271, then you will be removed from office.
Really?
Correct.
But I think 270, that's plenty time.
That's plenty time. It's been done all around the state. So there, again, some people believe that you have to have a college degree and things of that nature. You don't. You'll see more officers now going and getting their bachelor's degree. The state passed some legislation that will allow officers to get their bachelor's degree for free in criminal justice now. And so,
when did that start? This year?
Oh no, that happened many years ago now. Because right when I was getting in, so at least 10 years ago, the legislature changed that and allowed that to happen. So you'll see more officers getting their bachelor's degree, and some even getting their master's. I got my master's in 2017 from TSU. And so you'll see officers wanting further education in different areas. And so, but again, it's being able, getting started is background check and things of that nature. But you have to be again a certain age. And actually now in this legislative session, the legislators changed to where there's no age limit on officers. As far as you have to be 21, because you have to be 21 to carry a semi-automatic gun.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
but okay.
18 to carry a shotgun, but 21 to a handgun.
Okay.
But now there used to be an age cutoff of 45 with military training, but now that has been done away with. We know officers that are 45 plus, or people that's 45 plus that could be good officers, and so they changed it this year. The new law changed on September 1.
Wow. You know what? That was not broadcast as or advertised, at least for me, as much as a lot of other laws that went into effect September 1.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many laws that come in. We all have to get a legislative update training that's mandatory, and so those are some of the things that are more law enforcement specific that we get trained on once these new laws came about. But yeah, things have changed.
Yeah. And we're talking September 1st, 2023.
Correct.
That law went into effect. Why do you think someone should become a constable?
So, if a person, actually, when I was looking at this position, a lot of people 10 years ago thought that this runner for constable was a position of a retirement position. So you've worked in the police department for 30, 20 years or whatever, you retire from there, and then you run for constable, and then you just ride out in the sunset. And so for me, it was different. It was an opportunity to come in this position as constable, do the work that is prescribed by the Texas Constitution, but also make sure that understand this is also an elected position. And so being a voice for people in law enforcement and for other things, people call me for all types of stuff. It's just not law enforcement based, but just being that elected official that they know they can trust. And so if someone was looking to be in this career path of the elected official, they have to have certain qualities about them. Again, loving people, being able to respond to people, being a servant leader. And so those things will help that person because just like being a police officer, being an elected official isn't from everybody as well, because it comes with a lot of responsibilities, and there's some sacrifice that also comes along with the job, time sacrifice, because you're serving others. And so when you're serving others, sometimes you may be serving 10 or 20 people at one time in addition to your regular job duties. And so sometimes that takes you away from different things, especially family. And so if you're a person that doesn't like to be around people, don't like to conversate or talk with people or whatnot, it's probably not the job for you in an aspect of it, because it requires you to really be in the front and being able to speak for people and hearing their voices.
In the state of Texas, half of the population are women. All right, women.
Go ahead.
But unfortunately, only 11% of constables are women. Two-part question. Why do you think that number is so low, and what do we need to do to increase that number?
So we have some great women that are in law enforcement, and even if you look at the law enforcement statistics, just period, that number is low as well as far as women in law enforcement. And so when you have that low number, then it's really going to be low in the constable world, because there's only a certain amount of elected constables in the state. And so we first off have to empower everyone, but really make sure that we are giving women a fair chance to be in these positions, and then also we need women to step up to take these roles, run for position, and show that they can do the job just as well as I can. And so I'm a full supporter of women in law enforcement. Definitely a full support of women that are wanting to become the elected constable or even a deputy constable. Just but we have our first female African American constable, who's a good friend of mine here in Jefferson County, Javon Pollard, and she stepped up to the plate. And she used to actually work for this office, and so having her work for me and then having her look and say, I want to go to another level and become the first constable, female constable in Jefferson County, is awesome, because it lets other females know that I have someone to look at. I have a role model. I can do this just as well. And so we need people to step up and be role models to show that it can be done. And sometimes people believe it can't be done. It's a male-dominated profession, and we won't get the fair chance. But thank goodness times have changed, and we can see now that women are stepping up in law enforcement. They are leading law enforcement agencies all across the state. For example, our sheriff, first female African American sheriff in this state, and so more role models like that will help people to see that they can step up in these supervisory positions, the chief administrative roles, and get the job done just like anyone else can.
Excellent. The constable is an elected position. Do you have term limits?
So we do not have term limits. We run for office every 4 years. And in Texas, well, in Jefferson County, I would say, we run on the presidential cycle. So there's a primary, of course, and then after the primary election, there's a general election. And then when you see the president at the top, if you start strolling all the way down to the bottom of the ballot, you'll start seeing the constable's name pop up. But we all run on the same ticket, on the same ballot.
How important do you think it is for children, regardless of race or background, to see a positive role model such as yourself, a black man, as an elected official, as a constable?
It's, that's one of the reasons I started a junior deputy camp that I do, to make sure that young people had the opportunity to interact with first responders, police officers, all the service positions, but also let them know that when they see me, and they see me here from Port Arthur, a young black man, that they can do the very same things that I did when I took a leap of faith at the age of 26 and took office at 27. And so I let people know all the time that they don't have to wait until they're older to make a difference or make a change. They can do it, whenever they can. They just have to have it in their heart to do it. And so I think it's so important for them to see tangible individuals that are doing the great work and that they could be a role model of, and just kind of help their lives as they move forward and they progress. And so that's one of the main reasons why I do it, just to make sure that young people can see what's happening here in Port Arthur and see the great things that are happening in law enforcement and especially this office. And hopefully one day they will want to do the same.
Okay. Well, congratulations are in order for you for a number of reasons. The first is you were recently selected as Constable of the Year, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How does something like that, do people vote on you to become Constable of the Year, or how does that work?
So we have a national association. It's the National Constables and Marshals Association. And so what happens is you're nominated, and then the board and the president, they select the person that will be named Constable of the Year. And again, this is a United States, this is a national award that was awarded. So in 2017, I was named the State Constable of the Year by our association, which is the Justice of the Peace and Constables Association of Texas. But this year, again, I was nominated and selected by the president and his committee to be the National Constable of the Year. And so I'm just forever grateful.
You know what? I thought this was for the state of Texas. This is national?
This is national. Yes, ma'am.
What? You are the National Constable of the Year?
Yes. Yes,
Oh my God. That's amazing.
It's a blessing. It really
Wow.
is. It really is.
Wow, you really are famous.
No. I'll just keep on going to work.
Yes. When you heard, oh my God, I'm like blown away by this. When you heard that you were going to be the National Constable of the Year, what did you think? What did you feel?
I was speechless in the beginning. That's what I told them when I received the award, because our conference was in Biloxi, Mississippi this year at the end of August. And so that's when I was presented with the award at our conference. And definitely speechless. Definitely honored for them to have selected me. The president of our association stated that this is well overdue, and we appreciate everything that you do. We can see the work that you're doing in the community. And so again, it was just a great honor. Just from here from Jefferson County, I'm just here from Port Arthur. I'm always gonna shout out my city. And
Yeah,
so,
PAT.
I'm just grateful just to bring it back home to the Golden Triangle.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, another congratulations are in order for you because U.S. Congressman Randy Weber recently recognized you on the House floor for being named the National Constable of the Year. So I watched the clip and your picture's there, and he's, all the accolades, which are so deserving.
Right.
How did you find out that was going to happen, and what was your reaction?
So I had no idea that was going to happen.
Really?
That was truly surprising. So I was at work. My wife, she's a teacher and she works, and she sent me a video from one of her Facebook friends, a lady that she grew up next door to, and she sent her a recording, and I guess she watched C-SPAN all day long. Shout out to the friend, but she watched it, and she, when she heard my name, she know that me and my wife were married, and she recognized the base last name. She started recording, so she literally, my wife sent me a recording from her friend showing that this was happening live on C-SPAN, and so I had no idea. So I was like, what? And so I went to, they record everything, so I went to the website, and I was able to download the video of the acknowledgement happening from the House floor, and so that's when I found out. I put it on social media to share with everyone else, and definitely I personally thank Congressman Weber for doing that, because it was a complete surprise to me, and so never would have thought that my name would be spoken amongst the House of Representatives in that manner, and so that is truly amazing. My sister, every now and then, she'll text in our family chat, and she's like, I can't believe they said your name on the House floor.
And had your picture.
And they had my picture on there, so
wow.
It's awesome. It really is.
And everything on the House floor is recorded and kept in archive, so it will always be there and be a part of history forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. Something for, my daughters are 14 and 13, and so they I sent them an article in the video, and so they definitely can understand. And I think my oldest daughter actually said, "Dad, are you famous?" I said,
Exactly.
I said, "Baby, I'm just doing what I have to do. When you do right by people, then people see it." And so, but my son, Chris Jr., when he gets older, being able to see these things and see that what Dad did is just going to be so, it's going to be so enlightening for me to see him, to see those things happen, and whatever path that he chooses, because I'm not telling he has to be the constable or whatever, but just having those archives, like you said, is important for him. Our future little nieces and nephews, I got a whole lot of them. When they grow up, they'll be able to see that Uncle Chris or Daddy did some good things.
So you are National Constable of the Year, and I just really want to keep saying that because I like to hear it. And you were recognized on the U.S. House floor as well. Do you feel like I made it? Like, I made it.
Those things just motivate me. I feel like there's more that can be done for Chris. I don't know exactly what those things are just yet, but I'm currently listening to God, and He's saying, Chris, just continue building a strong foundation for whatever I have for you, so that it will be able to sustain those things that are coming your way. And so I haven't made it, but I'm just grateful to be able to represent this city, this area, my family, my mom and dad, who always told me to remain humble. Don't get the big head, even though physically my head probably is big, but they're like, don't get the big head. And I always want to make sure that I make them proud, make them look good. I remember growing up, my mom and dad, don't you make me look bad,
Right.
And so even at age 38, I'll make sure that, I'm not making mom and dad look bad.
If more people live by that creed. Yes.
Absolutely.
What is your personal intention as a constable?
Again, just starting out, I really didn't know. I just knew I wanted to help people. And every elected official, every elected position has influence. people might want to deny that or whatever, but all these positions as an elected official has influence because individuals come in and they vote for you. They click your name, and so they feel like that if I'm clicking this person's name, then they'll be able to help me or get the job done, for me because, again, we work for the people. And so having all that in mind, it just helps me understand that that I have a job to do for the people, and I want to do it the best way I can and be respectful to their vote and things that they expect me to do. And so, moving forward, I'm going to continue. My thing is for this position is to first off where I got it and leave it better, for the next person, mentoring, and making sure that I have people that can come in this position and take it and keep building on it, and making sure that this role remains professional, quality of service and papers, everything, and then also the community aspects of it. That's what I have for me to make sure that not only I'm doing the things I need to do now, but when I'm gone, those things continue.
Speaking of when you're gone, have you thought about what is the next thing you want to do after you leave this position? Not saying that you're going to leave anytime soon, but has that thought entered your head? Like, what is the next step for Christopher Bates?
I get asked all the time, what's next? People say, man, I see you doing, greater things. I see you running for governor and all this stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm just, don't get me wrong, I love serving people, but I love the county politics or the county elected positions because it's really close to the people, and you can do local politics is so important because those are the things that really affect you right then and there.
Yes.
And so that's where I can see myself continue staying in county politics, county government. As far as positioning wise, I won't ever limit myself. So whether I remain constable or whether I seek another position, because I don't say higher position because for me we're all servants for the people. So whether I remain as constable or I seek another position later down in life, I just want to make sure that I'm still serving people and being able to help them where they are. And if I ever get into a position where I'm not being effective or I'm not being able to help people, then that lets me know that something needs to change. So I recognize that myself. A lot of times we have individuals that remain in office and stay in office and they're not productive, they're not taking care of business, and it's time to go 10 years ago, but they stayed and they would not leave. And so I never want to be that person, and I always tell my family that when it's time for me to really retire and get out of here, I will, but until then I want to be able to help people, whether it's in law enforcement, as a constable, or whether it's affecting public policy, the quality of life for our county, whatever those things may be. I want to be in the middle of it and being able to bring us to the next level of professionalism.
You sound like you're really self-aware. How did that come about? Or have you always been that way?
No, I mean, I really don't know when it came about. Like I said, I've always done it. I like history, so I always read up on my history, and so I guess in me loving history, understanding where things were, and where things are now, and where things can possibly go, is so important for me, and to understanding not just where I'm at, but everyone around me that things that I do, this office, or how it affects people. And so sometimes people are, and sometimes even myself, but but sometimes we are selfish in some ways, but we have to understand, especially in this type of position, that it's not for us, and we have to do things that are right by the people. And so I always keep that in mind. So I guess my self-awareness really came leading up to this, especially in getting law enforcement, but understanding that people need help.
Yes.
You know, at the end of the day, some people are, don't want to ask for help, but people need help, and so I try to look at different things from different aspects of it, from different viewpoints, and understanding everyone, different nationalities, different cultures, and being able to respect. And so I think a lot of that is driven by the respect I have for people in general. Because if you don't respect the people around you, then you won't be a person that wants to learn more or do the things that will help you be successful in life. And so I think just having that aspect of being able to understand individuals, being able to respect people has helped me be aware of everything that's going around, and being able just to help where I can.
You have a Constable for a Day event that you do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, how did that idea come about, and why did you decide, I need to do this?
Well, I mentioned a little bit earlier that we have so many young people that experience law enforcement in a negative light.
Right.
I've spoken at so many different schools here locally, and seeing young people, and some of them are, afraid. Some of them have good interactions, but I've recognized that not everyone has good interactions with law enforcement. And so, especially, and I'm like, where did this happen? When did this happen?
I asked myself the same question. When did
it happen?
you figure it out?
And so, I noticed just talking with young people that it happened at an early age, where they had a bad interaction with a law enforcement, or a situation where they may have seen someone, a family member, get arrested or things of that nature. And so I was like, you know what? It may not be a whole lot, but let me try to do something that will help curb those generational things that young people see, that are, from a low socioeconomic household, things of that nature, or just in period, dealing with it. So that's why I started the Junior Deputy Camp. Again, it's not nothing brand new. Other agencies do, a lot of sheriff's offices do junior deputy camps and different things. And so through my research, I'm always Googling stuff and reading and seeing what other people are doing, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, but you can take it and you can make it your own, you can make it better. And so I seen that it was happening in other counties, and so I was like, let's have it here in Port Arthur, and let young people come in and interact with law enforcement, and then hopefully the seed that we plant with them today will bloom and grow, where they can help hopefully become and continue to be young, progressive, and successful young people in their lives. But it has to start somewhere, and it start at a young age, and because you can change someone or help to change someone at an older age, 14, 15, 16, but it's much, much harder to change the aspect of a young person that has seen so much over the past 16 years, and then you come to them and say, change your life immediately. It doesn't work that way. And so I say, if I can catch them at an age of 8 to 9, where they're still more impressionable, and for them to know, then that's where I want to help affect those young people.
You also do a scholarship breakfast for graduating high school seniors.
Yes.
Same question, where did that idea come from, and why do you think that's important?
So, even now and to this day, we can turn on the news and we can see, a situation happening with this law enforcement agency or officer in this community, and a lot of times, young people now more, they really don't want to go into the field of criminal justice because of things that they see on the news, or the lack of knowledge of what's happening. And so there's twofold why I did it, because first off, college is not cheap.
It is not.
And so financial assistance is important, but also mentorship is important as well. And so on those two bases, that's why I started the scholarship program back in 2015. I literally started it with just $500 of my own money, and I said I want to give out a scholarship. So I found actually my fraternity was giving out a scholarship. I got the application. I got somebody to change it up and put my name and this, that, and other on it. And I send it to the schools and say, hey, I'm offering a scholarship. And so a lot of times people ask like, man, how you start a scholarship with all you got to do? I said, you got to give money. That's what you got to do. I mean, it's not nothing that's hard to do. You just have to want to do it. And so being able to help financially, help mentor, help young people that are looking to go in criminal justice and make a difference, whether they go off, once they leave all this area, or they come back and want to help, that's what I want to be a part of that plan of success for those young people. And so, again, started that program in 2015, and then over the years, I wanted to give more money, and so that's why I started the breakfast that comes along with it as well, the scholarship breakfast that we have. And so with those sponsorships and that money that comes in from the breakfast, we've been able to give out way more scholarships, and now this year we gave out, I think it was 8 $1,000 scholarships, and total from 15 to 23, we've been able to give out over $30,000 in scholarships.
Really? So the scholarships are for high school seniors. Do they have to be in Port Arthur, Texas?
So currently they do not. So we've given out scholarships to students that are in Beaumont as well that have applied. Originally it was, but now we are, we're being very successful. I'm in the process of getting another venue, because the venue that I had, which I love, but we've outgrown it. The scholarship breakfast has grown that much, and so we're getting more, assistance and sponsorships from people from all across this county, actually from the state, individuals that just kind of see what's going on and they want to make a donation. So we're looking at next year in 2024 to make sure that we open it up to other high schools within Jefferson County to apply for the scholarship.
And does the person, male or female, I know, do they need to be pursuing higher education in criminal justice?
Yes, they have to be going to criminal justice. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they will finish in criminal justice, but if that's the career path that they go in, leading on, then that's fine. Again, I kind of stay and mentor and keep up with all my scholarship recipients. So some of them do change their major, which is I changed my major. But at the end of the day, I just want them to be successful.
If someone wants to donate to your scholarship fund, how can they do that?
Okay, great question. So I actually, for all these years doing it, I've partnered with a nonprofit that I'm actually on the board with. Mendel's Lighthouse is a nonprofit organization here in Port Arthur. Our founder and CEO is Ms. Amber Lucas. And so having that partnership has been amazing. And so if anyone actually wants to donate to the scholarship program, they can actually go to the Mendel's Lighthouse website, it's mendelslighthouse.org, and they can make a donation and earmark it to the criminal justice scholarship. And we'll make sure that those monies go to high school seniors if they want to go to the criminal justice side. But even Mendel's Lighthouse has an educational scholarship as well. So having both of those aspects and then working together is so important with our nonprofit organization. So just going to the website and being able to get information and donate, we can make sure it's going to get to the right place.
Excellent. So it seems to me, and I could be wrong, that you are helping the whole person, because your junior deputy camp that you do every year gets the kids when they're younger, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then your scholarship gets them once they get to high school, senior in high school, and going on to pursue higher education. Was that intentional, or was that something that just came about?
I think it was something that just really came about. Now that you're mentioning it, I see that it actually, does do that. But for me, it was, again, making sure that young people had something to look for, a role model, and then they can continue that through their grade school, and then maybe those same young people can apply if they are interested in law enforcement and criminal justice. They can apply for my scholarship. And so we're actually getting to the point to where, since I've been doing this now Well, a few more years, I'll have the first kids that participated in my junior deputy camp actually be high school seniors. And so I'll look forward to some of them, being a recipient of my scholarship.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast and everything, all the good things that have happened to you. You absolutely deserve it.
I just, again, always give glory to God for all the things He has done, being having to have a great family support. My mom and dad, especially my mom, I'm the oldest of 6, and so she raised us all, and we're all good stewards of this community, of this nation, and so just giving accolades to having some good upbringing. A lot of whoopings back in the day. Me and my other brother were talking the other day. We were talking the other day, and I'm like, man, how did we get so many whippings back in the day? And I literally have no idea, but I'm thankful for those whippings because, Lord, I probably needed them, and it allowed me to be the man that I am today. And so I'm just grateful again for this community being so supportive. I literally could not do any of this without support of the people and individuals and community support and organizations that support. And so that's why it's so important when I did get the awards. This the first thing I said, this is not for me, this is for the community, because I would not have been able to get there without their support. And so I'm just forever grateful.
I tell you one thing, Port Arthur, Texas looks good on you. You really highlight this community, and everybody should be so proud that you are from Port Arthur, Texas.
Yeah, look. One thing that you're gonna know about me is that I love my city.
Yes.
I love Port Arthur, and we're gonna definitely keep working to make sure that Port Arthur stays on the map. 'Cause we're already on the map. We're gonna keep working to stay on the map.
It's true. It's true. For my last question, Constable Bates, who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast, but you have to help me get them on?
So I don't think he's been on.
Okay.
And if he has, then I'm going to have to think of somebody else. But one of my good friends that keeps me rocking and rolling, we talk, several times throughout the week. We thrive off each other's energy is Councilman A.J. Turner.
Okay. He has not been on.
He hasn't been on, so good. AJ is a dear friend of mine. We met later on in life, but when we did meet, our energies matched, and we motivated, we inspire each other. Again, he's on Beaumont City Council, and he is doing some awesome things in the city of Beaumont. And then also, I believe he can share some great things as well, for people in the city of Beaumont that want to know what's going on in that city. And so I think he would be a great addition to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I can help him get them on for sure.
Perfect. That's the main part.
He owed me one anyway.
Perfect. Tell him I will gladly take that favor.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all so much for watching and listening. You can get this podcast and all of my other podcasts on YouTube Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And remember, you always have time to listen and learn on the go.
Robbie Crystal Petry Console.